It is day 2 of the Being Boring Challenge, March 23rd, around 6 a.m. on the old spin bike, as I usually do, because the whole thing about the Big Boring Challenge is to create a routine and stick with it for 7 days. You can start today, no big deal. You didn't start yesterday, and just do the same thing at the same time for try to get 30-40 minutes in. And so what I'm doing right now is I got this spin bike and I do usually a 10-minute warm-up on it, then do a little bit of kettlebell drills. I've got this really great app. I'll put it in the show notes. And then off to do my walk, usually somewhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours. And then be back, hopefully some poker later on. Yesterday was full of doing some YouTube stuff. Did a great video podcast with the Jester. Had my buddy Adam Setzer, who I've done a video with because he finally qualified for Western States. And so we talked Western States, Barkley, and Ed's plans for getting his 200th finish, 100-mile finish in a career. And so check that out. And I'm going to finish this up and then head outside, of course, because we had daylight savings time. It's nice and dark outside. And around the track I go. I sometimes use their actual training programs with the instructors, but sometimes it takes too long to log up for whatever reason, so I'm all about efficiency. Clock Tower used to be in downtown Bakersfield, but after the earthquake, they moved it. We had a big earthquake here in the 50s. Floyd's General Store. It's been around for a long time. It's amazing. They rebuilt it, of course, the ever-present gardeners. But there's a Pioneer Village and a Kern County Museum. They've got a lot of buildings from like the 1870s, 1880s in there. Have a big Halloween thing there. So it's kind of a cool little place. Bakersfield Marathon one year, we turned in and ran in there. It's an area where I would love to put on a multi-day race, like a 6-day race, because you've got all these buildings from that era when 1870s, 1880s, when 6-day racing was really huge and the prize money was, $20,000, $30,000. And it would be really fun to have a race. It's got beautiful paved loop in there. Good friend of mine, Lori Ware, who we came up in the Bakersfield music scene long ago. She used to be like in charge of the place, but she's now a ranger. So who knows if I'll ever be able to get that. I'm sure they would probably shoot my idea down. And then way out in the distance is Sam Lynn Ballpark. Good thing is they're putting in more and more barriers to drive-in camping. So it's good to see, because we have a real issue, not just with the people camping, but they also drive on this bike path. I'm going 3 miles an hour, so it's not so big a deal. But a lot of my cyclist friends, are flying along, and these people aren't really looking out for much of anything, especially if you end up driving on the bike path. Good to see those rocks put in. And one of the city workers with the rocks to keep the guys off my bike path driving on it, he stopped for a minute, and I stopped and said and told him thank you for all their hard work and keeping cars off of the bike path. It's just a dangerous situation, so I'm glad that they're out here working so hard.
Like full-time job and all this stuff, right? And he's like, and you have pets? I'm like, yeah.
And you do epic hikes?
He's like,